We are here at Good Things 2024. Billy Corgan, how are you?
I'm good, thank you.
That's good. Yeah. Hey, I want to say congratulations, first things first.
On?
Expanding the family, man.
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we're expecting a girl sometime in the spring, so...
Oh, man, that's
exciting.
so good.
Our third child. So hopefully everything goes good.
Yeah. Hey, man, congrats. That's really cool. I've been
Yeah.
following it. So, yeah, that's awesome. And, of course, welcome back to Australia. We saw you last year for the World is a Vampire tour.
Yeah, it seems like so long ago, but it wasn't that long ago.
I know.
I think we've been so busy since that it seems like a long time ago.
Now, even for us, like, I was like, it was last year. Where the time go? But, you know, of course, this is your second solo tour of Australia.
Yeah, the first one didn't go so well, and I'm not sure how this one's going either.
Oh, really?
I don't have the best luck in Australia as a solo artist. Yeah, the first one was weird because I think a lot of the audience, the Pumpkins had broken up, 4 years before or something.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of the audience assumed that I would be playing Pumpkin songs, and I announced it in the press that I wasn't, and the album was very different than the sound of the Pumpkins generally. So people were getting really mad, and Australians don't mind voicing their opinion in the middle of a funeral. So I say that jokingly and lovingly. So it got weird. And then there was one night where some guy yelled out something, and I picked up a mic and kind of tried to explain. I wasn't mad. I was just kind of perturbed, but I didn't yell or anything. And then suddenly it was in the UK papers. I had a complete meltdown, and I stormed off the stage and threw the mic down. I'm reading this, I'm like, I know that didn't happen. In fact, I still have the tape of the show somewhere, so I know it didn't happen, but anyway, it's rock and roll.
I love the Future Embrace.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, that was
I
one of
love
those
that
albums that I think I worked very hard on, and when I put it out, I felt really good about what I'd done, and it was just so poorly received. I think, literally every review was, it's not the Smashing Pumpkins. And I was like, yeah, it's not the Smashing Pumpkins.
It's not meant to be.
Well, what's weird about that, and I think it's probably more obvious now, 20-something years later, when the band broke up for that one time in 2000, when you've had so much to do with the sound of your band, and then when people say it's not the Smashing Pumpkins, you're like, yeah, I know, because I chose it not to be like the Smashing Pumpkins. If I wanted to sound like the Smashing Pumpkins, I could without the Smashing Pumpkins. So that was what was weird about it all, and then it just turned into whatever it turned into.
It's a special album to me anyway.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, I really do enjoy it, and I'm working on the Zwan box set, which was Jimmy and I's band before Future Embrace, and then hopefully once that's finished, we can turn to that period and maybe do some stuff with that. I own all those records, so I can put out whatever version of them I want.
That's cool. I'm very, very excited about that. Man, Pumpkins are my favorite band since I was...
Oh, God bless you.
I've told you before. But, this new album, though, Aghori Mhori Mei, is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah, you've done
Aghori
great.
Mhori
Yeah. It seems Australians seem to have a real easy time pronouncing it, so maybe it's an Australian accent album, because, Americans butcher the hell out of it.
Well, I think at least we're doing it right. But it's such a phenomenal album. As a fan of yours for so long, and knowing other fans, it's such an incredible. Are you loving it? Like the response to it?
Yeah, I feel really good about it. I'm at this point in my life, I don't read anybody's comments, so I just kind of feel, and there's definitely a positive feeling. And then, we put the album out in the summer when we were on tour with Green Day. Because, there was the original thing was like, well, let's wait till the physical record's coming out. And I said, well, why don't we just put it out? I mean, we're playing in front of all these people with Green Day. Might as well let them hear the record. And that was fine. The streaming numbers were good and all that stuff. And then now the physical album has just come out a few weeks ago. And I'm starting to get this feeling, I don't know. And again, I don't read comments, so it's strictly a way I feel. Yeah. But I get the feeling people are starting to catch on, like, oh, this is a really a much better effort than we would have expected at this point. And there's a lot of reasons for that, but I think it's one of those things it's like when you see a movie that you think is just going to be good, and then it's really good, and you're almost kind of like, it takes you a while to figure out, did I really see a really good movie, or did I imagine that? And I think that's where we're at now. People are starting to really, the echo of it is starting to move around. So.
Absolutely. I'm waiting on my copy to come in. I was hoping to have it here today. But,
God bless, yeah.
Man, I love it.
That's why you got to order from MadamZuzus.com.
That's right.
Although unfortunately, the international fans get cream with the shipping charges, and they get mad at us. And I don't read comments, but I hear about them from my wife, who goes online and she's
Bless.
like, you know, the international fans in Malaysia are mad because of the shipping prices. It's like, dude, if I could walk it to your house, I would.
Do you work for the American Postal Service? No,
I
you
don't know. I don't know. It's you're ever astounded that how people expect, you know, airplanes to fly at a certain price and things to be shipped around the world at a certain price. It's kind of like, did you go to math class? I mean, I don't know. I don't know what to say about it. It's strange to me. I mean, I feel terrible. I mean, I wish it was, you know, because in America we're so, you know, with FedEx and companies like this, Amazon, we're really spoiled where, you know, you order something and it's cheap and it comes for free and the thing. And so, you know, I'm empathetic, but there's nothing I can do.
No. For here, they have to dig a hole and throw it down the hole that comes down a chute. And then that's how it comes to us.
We just played South America a few weeks ago for the first time in about 10 years.
Oh, wow.
And just to get our equipment down there and then ship it around inside South America, I mean, that's the same thing like using the post office. I mean, I can't believe the numbers it costs to move a set of equipment from point A to point B to point C. So I get it, but there's nothing I can do.
Yeah, so have patience, guys.
Yes.
And Kiki...
No, stop. There's no... You're asking the people out there to have patience?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I live in a fairyland.
I was going to say you really do.
But Kiki
Wong
is an absolute weapon. I was following her before she joined the band.
Me too.
And when she joined, I was so stoked. She's incredible, man.
Yeah, we're so blessed to have Kiki in our lives and our world. She's just a wonderful person, and it's cool. She has a baby about 1.5. Jet is his name, and so Kiki and her baby and her partner come on tour with us at times, and we see them around, and it's just so awesome. I'm so happy for Kiki. You know, she talks very openly about that she'd kind of given up on the dream of ever reaching, you know, the other level in the music business, and so it's really fun to enjoy that with her, and she's earned it. She put in the time, and she just fits in with us, and not everybody could do that, and it takes a certain special type of person. So I really tip my hat to her if I had one.
Oh man, tell her we love her down in Australia too.
Well, you can tell her there. She's a creature of the internet. Don't you know that?
Oh yeah, hey, Kiki, keep going.
You got a hashtag and like and share and.
Please do. But of course, some of the best songs you've written, some of my favorites have been B-sides. Actually, my favorite Pumpkin song is I.
Is I? Okay. Do you know the story of that song?
No.
Yeah.
Lost Highway, of course.
Well, I had a music publisher whose name was Tom Sturgis. Tom's now writing books like parenting type books, but at the time he was a big music publisher in Hollywood, and also famously the son of Preston Sturgis, arguably the greatest screenwriter in the history of Hollywood. So very smart guy, grew up in a very smart household, and really in many ways made my career possible because he really believed in me as a songwriter. So one day he called up and he said, you know, we've signed Shaquille O'Neal, the famous basketball star, to a deal as a music artist. Would you ever be interested, since I know you're a basketball fan, of writing anything for Shaquille O'Neal? And I thought, okay.
Wow.
So I thought of like some of those great Dr. Dre and I can't think of his name off the top of my head, but the gentleman who used to do stuff for Public Enemy, how they would loop tracks and spooky stuff. And so I wrote that riff on a piano. That's all I had. Doom, whatever this riff.
Yeah. I can hear it.
You know the riff,
yeah, absolutely.
So, and then it didn't work out that I ended up working with Shaq on the song. So then it came up that I had an opportunity to do a song for David Lynch, and we were working on the Aghori album at the time, and so I sent David that song called Tear. I thought it was perfect for a David Lynch movie, and David did not like the song. So he basically told me, no, you're going to have to come up with another one. And so I was like, where do I have a song? And I thought, oh, that riff that I wrote for Shaq. And so I went in the studio in one day, no lyrics, just the riff.
Yep.
And in one day recorded the whole thing, just myself. And, you know, that's why there's no electronic drums and stuff, because there was no band. I don't think the band was even in town. And then David loved that track.
But it captures... There's something about that song that captures that moment in time for me.
Yeah, okay, so
It's
looping back to the
perfect.
start of our conversation, so if anybody knows that song I by the Pumpkins, I didn't feel like the Future Embrace was that different than those types of songs.
Yeah.
So when people were like, "Oh, it's not the Pumpkins," I was like, "I get what you mean. It's not Rat in the Cage, but there's this other side of the Pumpkins that a fan would know." So that's why it was a bit mysterious to me, because I didn't think it was that different. It was a guitar-based record, the Future Embrace.
Yeah, and like all the electronic stuff from like.
Well, you know what kids like about the record now is very shoegazy.
Yes, it's huge now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so somehow that record works, and then you have Robert Smith singing on one of the tracks, which is the Bee Gees track, To Love Somebody.
Yes.
Robert was very nice to sing on that for me.
Man. Yeah, I'm gonna go home and crank that again. But,
thank you.
Man, you are one of my favorite riff masters. You do the mellow stuff, but the heavy, when you go heavy, you've written some of my favorite heavy riffs around. Will we ever see maybe possibly a one-off show where you just do all the heavy Pumpkin stuff?
Well, we have talked about that, actually. We have floated out different concepts for different types of shows. Yeah, I think it's possible. I know coming down here and playing with the Delta rigs, kind of like, let's call it a little bit more of a mellow take on my song catalog. I think some of the issue with where I said it's been an interesting tour is I think that's that thing when, you know, for example, when on this festival bill we're playing behind Kerry King of Slayer.
Yep.
And, you know, the great drummer Paul Bostoff is playing behind him, also plays with Slayer. Band sounds great, you know, the singer is really strong. I mean, it's a very, you know, but if you're going to see Kerry from Slayer, well, it sounds Slayer-ish.
Yes.
And I think you run into that problem with the average punter fan. If they like, but this doesn't really compute with the image I have in my head. So I was actually thinking if I was to ever tour solo again, I'd probably do better by playing heavier than mellower. So might be fun to find a young kind of riffy band and play stuff like Bodies and XYU and all that crazy stuff. Now we'll see if my voice could hold up at this August stage. But yeah, we've been playing Jelly Belly live. We played Jelly Belly every night on the Green Day tour. And it went down a storm. I mean, you're playing 60,000 people playing Jelly Belly. You know, you're going to find out if they like it or not. And every night it was like
that stuff makes me want to like.
Well,
I love it.
Listen, it's one thing to write a great rock riff, and luckily I've written a few. But you know, you got Jimmy Chamberlain back there to just pummel the fuck out of it.
Oh,
you know?
man,
yeah,
I love it. I love it
so
much.
That's the thing. You get spoiled with a guy like Jimmy. You know, he's just such a phenomenal artist. You know,
and what a good dude too.
He's a good guy. Yeah, I was just texting with him today because he just did. We have a tea house in north of Chicago called Madame Zuzu's, and Jimmy just did 2 jazz gigs there with a great local saxophonist, Frank Catalano, and they did like 2 Christmas-themed jazz shows. And I was very sorry I missed it, so I was texting Jimmy today how the shows go. They had another one tonight in America, and he said it was great. So. I'm sad I missed it because that's Jimmy's real passion outside of the Pumpkins is to play jazz.
Well, can we maybe see Pumpkins come back down to Australia at some point?
Love to. I thought I had a sort of maybe I misheard something somebody said, but I was under the impression we were coming back down here again next year, and I was told that's not happening.
Oh. Well,
I don't know how those things work. I gave up trying to pay attention to all that. You know. Maybe just because it's too soon or something like that.
Yeah. Oh, man.
So maybe 2026 is probably more likely.
Whenever you come back, I'll be there.
We'll do the heavy tour. We'll call it.
Oh, man.
We'll call it. We have to give it a creative name. You know the Eye of Sauron or something. You know.
Tales of a Scorched Earth.
Yeah. According to fans, we've never played that song live.
Have you?
I feel like we did once, but according to fans, we never played it live. We might have done. Maybe it was like a sound check song, and so that's why I have a memory of us playing it, but never playing it live. The problem is you can hear on the recording the thing tore up my voice so bad that there was no way to play it live, you know, on a tour without destroying the tour. But yeah, that, you know,
that's a bit of a pickle. But
what's that? Let me caveat this by saying that. I love James Hetfield as a person. I love Metallica. I saw them in 1984 and all that great stuff. And James is probably the greatest riff writer outside of maybe Tony Iommi. You know what I mean? Like, James has written some of the greatest, most amazing riffs, and he's still writing them. But if you listen to Tales of a Scorched Earth and you listen to that Metallica song, give me fuel, give me fire, give me that which I desire. See? It just, the little light bulb went off in your brain.
It did. I'm not going to hear that the same now, bro.
Now, which song came first?
Tales of Scorched Earth.
God bless you.
100%.
Now, I don't think Jaymes would rip anything off from me, but first time I heard that song, I was like, that's awfully close. That's awfully close.
I was so good
but
about
I love me some Jaymes, and you know,
yeah.
I love somebody who's trying to get a troll headline out of that, some clickbait out of that.
Man, I'm never gonna hear
my
that
father
song.
used to say, look, there's only 12 notes. You know what I mean? So that's the great thing. We all rip each other off, and if it works, great. You know, got no problem.
Hey man,
with that.
it's all tribute to another, right?
I mean, I've certainly ripped Metallica off plenty. So
that's the thing about you. I think we got to wrap, but I got to tell you, when I listen to your riffs, especially the heavy stuff, I don't hear other bands' riffs. I hear maybe a little bit influence, but I don't hear, when everyone's ripping each other off, I don't hear you stealing riffs. I think they stole from you.
Well, there's been a bunch of that, but I never get credit for that. So, and every time I try to take credit for that, everyone gets mad at me.
I'm giving you credit.
Oh, God bless.
He's not doing it. I'm giving credit.
You know, recently I got in trouble in America for saying that, you know, look, there are great guitar players that I could never aspire to be as great as. The Randy Rhoads, the Zakk Wyldes, the Tony Iommis. I mean, to me, they're supreme, and even Kerry King, you know, is, you know, in Slayer. It's like those. I mean, that stuff is unbelievable, and as a fan from way back, I mean, I'm just in awe of guys who can play at that level and write such creative stuff. But you know, in the world of alternative guitar, you know, you kind of get in this weird situation where they put across a lot of these guitar players which really aren't that good or that innovative. And it gets into more like a popularity contest.
Yeah.
So after, you know, 30 years of this, I just kind of raised my hand and said, you know, by the way, I wrote a lot of those songs and those are my riffs, and I'm not going to sort of stand by and sort of act like I'm not important in this genre of music. And people got really pissed, you know, because God forbid you sort of say what you did. Anyway, I don't know where we're going with all that other than me sort of sticking my foot back in it. I just think I just think it's funny because, first of all, who really cares? You know what I mean? Who really cares? I mean, alternative music's, let's call it, especially the grunge generation, our relationship with riffs was very different. You know, we weren't trying to be heavy for heavy's sake. Even Rage Against the Machine, Tom Morello has written some of the greatest riffs ever. Rage is super heavy, but they're not heavy like a Metallica heavy or a Judas Priest heavy or a Sabbath heavy or a Slayer heavy. We're not trying to be those types of bands. So alternative riffs are sort of a different kind of kingdom anyway. It's really not about who's the greatest shredder and stuff like that. So that's why it gets in this more like a popularity contest over there with who can play.
Stupid.
No, it's not even stupid. It says more about alternative rock politics.
Yes.
Which has always been a popularity contest. And that's what I said when I first got in alternative rock. It was like, oh my God, I'm still in high school. I don't know how I'm still in high school. I thought I got out of high school and got away from the football players and the cheerleaders and the stoners and all that stuff. It was like, oh, alternative music is where you go to hang out with the cool kids who don't fit in anywhere else. And then you realize it's just as weird and just as parochial as being in a suburban school in America.
Yes.
So
the metal community is very much the same.
Well, I'm sure. I don't know. I don't really follow those politics. You know what I mean?
But you know what? You just keep doing what you're doing, man. We'll keep following it. You know.
What was the great Rocky Erickson song? You're gonna miss me when I'm gone. You know what I mean? That's how I think of it. You're gonna miss me when I'm gone. Because it's like wrestling. You know. I mean, you need heels. You know. You do.
It's true.
Keeps things moving. So
yeah.
But I've made a lot of people a lot of money with my mouth with clickbait, so I'm still valuable. You have to give me credit for that.
All right. Well, man, Billy, thank you so much for hanging out. It's been absolute honor talking to you again.
All right, awesome.
And we'll have all the links down here. Aghori Mhori Mei.
Yeah.
Out now.
Out now.
All the links down here.
If you can get it with all those shipping prices.
Yeah. All right. We'll see you soon.